I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Chris Yee.
And today we're taking a look at a game called A Message from the Stars. The theming of this is very similar to the movie, is it Contact, I think?
Arrival?
Oh, no, Arrival, sorry.
No, Contact is
they're all the same. These aliens come down, and you it's not like Independence Day. These aliens are here. One player is going to be the alien, or if you're playing teams, multiple people are the aliens. And they are trying to get the humans, the other players, to figure out their language or letters. This is a cooperative game, or you could play it in teams, which just essentially means you're cooperatively competing against each other, if that makes sense.
No, but yeah.
So this is I want to be clear up the front because I was teaching this to somebody just a few days ago, and I said something like that, and they're like, I don't like word games. This is not particularly a word game, although words are involved, but it is deduction. Here's how it plays. In this game, the alien player is going to shuffle the alphabet cards, and you're going to be placing them in here. There's green common cards, black uncommon cards, and orange tough cards. And as you place them, you have to follow the rules. There's going to be 3 trust letters, where one is green and the other 2 are uncommon or tough. 2 identity amplify letters, one is common, the other is uncommon or tough, and 1 suspicion, which can be any of the 3 types. Now, trust letters are worth 1 in value. Amplifies are ×2, and suspicion is negative. So if a word is given as a clue, you're going to figure out the value of that word. So here we have quill. There is a Q, a U, an I, and 2 L's. Each L is +1. So that would be 2 times 2, because there's 1 Q, so 2 times 2 is 4. Here, bubble. Bubble has 3 B's and an L. I wrote 3 there. That's actually a 4 value because there's 4 letters there. And then we have church here, for example. Church has 2 C's in it, which is 2. And then it is multiplied by 2 for 4. And then if there is an H in the word, it's negative. Even though there's 2 H's, it's still negative, so the value is -4. If you don't have any of these letters out here, like Spotify, there's none of the letters in Spotify out here, that's 0. And if there's no trust word letters, so here I have horrify, there's a negative, and there's multiple R's, but there's no L, B, or C in the word, it's still a value of 0. So what players are going to be doing is the alien and humans are going to be giving each other cards back and forth, writing words down, and the alien will use these letters to give the value. Each of the aliens and human players, the humans are going to get a card and the aliens are going to get a card too, and they're going to roll a die at the beginning for each of the different categories here. So I rolled a 1, so I have trade. I roll a 3, so necessary, and then I roll a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and water. Our species is dying, we must trade necessary water, is the sentence. So as the game progresses, the game is going to be the alien gives the humans a clue with a number. The humans write a word down, give it back to the alien, or the alien writes a number, and you do this 4 times back and forth, 3 if you want to play on a hard game. When they're done with that, each of the 2 teams, the alien and the humans, will give each other their card, and you have to guess which words of these cards the alien meant. So I might have water here as my clue, and then looking at my letters that I had here, I might have put aqua or something like that on there, because they're going to look at aqua and go, oh, aqua means water. And so at the end of the game, each of the 3 teams, or each of the teams, is going to guess these 3 words on the other person's card. And the humans are going to guess the 6 letters that the alien has picked. Each correctly guessed letter is a point. Each guessed word that the alien gets from the humans and that the humans get from the aliens will be worth a point. So the maximum you can get is 12 points. Humans have their own board that they will be working all this stuff out on. They'll be writing the letters up here. They can cross off letters back and forth, remembering that there's only 1 red letter. So if they figure out, for example, that there is a Q in amplify, they know that there's no more red letters anywhere on here. And you also have these little notepads where you can write things down and discuss amongst yourself what clues and things you want to give. That's basically how you play. In the team mode, there are 2 aliens who are looking at the same letters and giving clues to just their team, and then whoever scores higher wins.
But both teams are gleaning information from their alien and the other team's alien.
Yeah, so there's like some back and forth there. The first time I heard about this, Chris told me, he's like, hey, I was really tired, so I played this, and you were saying something effective, or maybe it was you, one of the two of you told me, not a game to play when you're tired.
No. Say at the end of like running an entire week-long convention, and someone's like, hey, I got a game for you. But anyway.
So this is definitely a fairly involved deduction game. And it's similar to, I mean, in some ways, like, oh, do you like Wordle? But it's not just that. There's more to it than that. The mathematical numbering system of this, I think, is just brilliant. I really do.
It's an involved word game, but it's got a simple rule set for the most part, I believe. You know, once because we had people walk up and they kind of see, okay, these letters mean this, 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 and you're trying to decipher. It kind of makes sense, but also it's a brain burner.
Yeah, not as many rules, but all of the different considerations. Only one red or extremely rare letter amongst all of them.
Right.
And there might not even be one.
Right.
But there probably is going to be one. And then you have the different common ones, the uncommon ones that you're just kind of, it gives you a lot of different ways to start crossing off letters, which I really appreciate. Once you know that there's a common in this pool of 3 letters, you're like, okay, well, I can get rid of all the other green ones I was considering. There's a lot of implications to any piece of information you glean.
I like that because it almost gives me that cascade feeling that a roll and ride or a game like that gives you. Once you finally find that red letter, you're like, okay, good. You can finally start to eliminate things. That's where it, because at first, if you figure, it's like, how am I ever going to figure this out? And slowly, those clues start coming out. I love that feeling.
Yeah, there's also a bit, I think, of induction in this game, in the sense of, I'm trying to think why you wrote the words you did. So that's not necessarily there, but for example, there's only like 5 or 6 of those red letters.
Yeah.
If you are the alien and you put one in your first word, I'm assuming that's important.
That's true.
Otherwise, why would you have used a Q? There's no reason to use a Q unless you are trying to give me information. Q's in there. Now, that's not deduction because I'm just guessing or extrapolating, but I think it, and this is, of course, you can also be metagaming too, where you're like, well, you shouldn't, like you could make it like in your group, you could be like, you should never use one unless it's in the word type thing.
Right.
But also sometimes I sit there and struggle as the alien or the humans. The word I make, is it more important to figure out the letters or these clues for the cards?
After I was taught this, and I was taught the numbering system, the 1, doublers, negatives, like all these things, I was like, whew, okay, this is going to be tough to come up with words and do all the deduction part. And then the teacher was like, by the way, you need to make me guess these 3 words on these cards. I was like, are you kidding me?
No, but I'm telling you, that makes the game.
That makes it actually much better because, yeah, you have to then, you can't metagame the game too much. You have to be giving clues that match the words you need the other team to guess at the end. It gives you some direction, and it prevents you from just being like, Q-U-E-U-E. Like, oh, it's the perfect word to give you like a negative 16. It tells you everything you need to know. Oh, I can't just do that. Too bad.
I agree. At first when I heard that, I thought, oh, it's going to be hard enough to figure out these ciphers, and then you got to push towards the word. But towards the end, I really liked that because that's the part that I think, first of all, I think it's easier for you because you don't start with like a blank screen, a blank slate. You've got somewhere to start with, and you're trying to figure out either synonyms or even antonyms, trying to figure out the opposite, something that can lead them to this word. I think that right there is more fun for me to figure out. It gives me a starting point.
Yeah, so I played this as both sides. I think overall I like playing the humans better because you're actually doing the deduction rather than enabling it. As the alien, when I was playing as the alien, I was like, I'm used to sometimes when I play a 1 versus all or whatever, I can tune my brain out or whatever while everyone's talking and wait till they're done and be like, okay, here's your next clue. You can't, because I got to listen to what everyone's saying going, ooh, that's so dumb. Okay, this word will show you that you're going down the wrong path. You think O's are times 2. Well, here's a word with 3 of them. And look, it's 2 points.
That is one thing I do like about games like this, where you have to sit there silently, right? And you cannot make any reaction when you hear that discussion. But that's going to come out in the word you give them. I love that. And they always go, okay, yeah, we were wrong. And I love that moment where you just kind of go, idiot. Yeah, so, but it's fun. It's fun. I love that.
That being said, I think it is a game best played with teams of 3 or 4. It's like an alien and then 2 or 3 of the human investigators
Right.
together. I have played this, I think it was 10 people with the 2 teams. And I thought the team mode worked very well. You have 1 fewer round. You only have 3 instead of the 4 rounds. But you also glean information from both of the alien messages. But then you only get to create 3 clues to ask them back. And so that compensates for it. You're getting maybe a little bit more information, but getting rid of that 4th word that you as the human team can ask the alien, like that puts more pressure on you. So I thought that the team mode with like mega huge teams, a huge player count, I was worried that was going to be a gimmick, but I think it works really well.
What do you think about the 2-player game?
I played it with Wendy, just the 2 of us, and as the alien, it's so hard. As I said, hey, for a first game, if you talk out your logic, I will just be here to point out when you accidentally fall down the wrong interpretation.
Sure.
Right, just to help for the first time. But it's so hard to just bite your tongue because there's not 2 people, 2 humans to kind of be like, oh yeah, the eyes must be this thing. And you're like, it literally can't be that. And another person would kind of help catch those little logical leaps.
Yeah, I would never play it as a 2 for that reason. I like the out loud discussion.
That's it, because I think two people, it's going to kind of funnel into this tunnel vision where you're focused on this, okay, this has to be this, has to be this, and you just don't see past that.
I think it still is very fun at 2. And like you said, the game has that built-in thing where you're like, oh, you think the O's are something? Here's 3 O's. You're just kind of saying like, no, don't keep going down that path.
No. By the way, love that proper nouns are allowed. That helps so much.
Oh, I agree.
Yes.
Because there are so many other restrictions that you're thinking about.
And I love the 2 negatives don't make a positive, by the way. Because at first I thought it's going to be really impossible.
You do have to reiterate that. If present at all negative.
Right, yeah.
Each instance of this thing is a double, not necessarily think of it as 1 number times 2. You know what I mean? There's little logical things you have to make sure to reiterate, but then the game goes very smoothly.
Now, as a person if you're the alien, you're kind of running the game, and definitely if you're playing this, and people never played before, and you should always be the alien.
Yes.
But you got to be doubly sure. Now, they have an app. It's not complete yet, so I haven't messed with it, that you'll be able to type the words in, and it will tell you the point value for them.
I might have messed that up last night. and partway through, been like, that's a 2, not a 4, or 4, not a 2.
Yeah, so what I do as the alien is I will take each, as dumb as it takes extra time, but I'll take each letter of the word. I'll be like, okay, your word is shoe. S, nothing. H, nothing. O, there's 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being very careful because it's really easy to mess up. You cannot mess up as the alien. So there's that pressure on you, but I mean, just again, you just take things slowly. But the app would also, and when the app's out, I will always use it. You put in your letters, you say what the letters are, then you type in a word and it just gives you a point value. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Don't need it, but it's just a good safety check.
I agree.
This is not for everyone. I know that for sure, because if you don't like deduction, like straight deduction, you're not going to like it. And again, it uses words, but the words are definitely second tier to figuring out the fun math deduction part of it. What would you give it?
I actually like this game a lot because I like deduction, but I don't gravitate towards word games, but this one just works for me. I'm coming in at a 9. I really enjoy this game a lot because it works, and when you just feel so clever when that final word comes through and you're like, yep, that's it. And I love when it all just comes together at the very end. And I like the fact that if people walk up while you're playing this, they can easily just walk up to one of the 2 sides and just assist that side, jump right into it. Like playing the Sakans is great because they just jump in and all of a sudden you had somebody helping over here. I love that style of game.
I'm also coming at a 9. This balances things so well where it feels like man, if they had changed any part of the design, this would have kind of like teetered off. It wouldn't have worked and been so tight. But it's airtight. I have so much fun with it, and I think what sets it apart, like above an 8.5, like the bump between an 8.5 up to a 9 it's pretty big, and for me, it's the fact that there's not a complementary game in the market that feels like this one for me.
Right.
It's a little bit Wordle inspired. It's a little bit like Turing Machine. You know, if you kind of put these things, but it also is nothing like those other games. And so in totality, in its individual parts, it really stands apart. I like this one a ton.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm also giving it a 9. I like cooperative deduction games, and I like limited communication. And this might be the 4th game with this theme. There's at least 2 others out there where an alien is coming and they are communicating with humans, blah, blah, blah.
Visitor,
this one does it the best by far. And like Chris says, it's just very clean. So our video is going up here halfway through March. This is currently my favorite game I played this year.
Wow.
I really enjoy it. I definitely do lean towards deduction games. I think they're super fun. I do deduction puzzles almost every day for my own, I don't know, I don't want to get Alzheimer's, so I'm trying to keep my brain active, but I just like doing deduction. I think it's super fun, and this one works, but I like it because of that whole communication. Even as the alien, I'm sitting there listening to communication and enjoying it. You know, oh, they just said that. Of course, dummies. The aliens very much kind of has a snide opinion about humans. If you're playing
in Tom's games, yes.
You said it too.
I did.
So, so of course, this is from Allplay, who is a sponsor of the channel. But hopefully, the things that we said and the fact that we have a history of really enjoying deduction games, Turing Machine is rated extremely highly among for me, and these types of games tend to do well. So yeah, I think 3 9s across the board speaks to the quality of this game.
Yeah, I went into it kind of like, we'll see, and came out of it really enjoying it. So that's a message from the stars. I'm Tom Vessel.
I'm Joy Evans.
And I'm Chris Yee.
See you next time.